Hey everyone, welcome back to Red and Blue. Today we are back with part 2 of my collab with PSGINT, and this time we're diving deep into PSG's transfer market. We look back at the summer window, what worked, what didn't, and where players like Chevalier and Zabarnyi really stand right now. And then we break down what PSG must fix in January, the profiles we're targeting, and the big rumors around the club. From centre-backs like Upamecano to attackers like Alvarez and young James like Valentín Barco. If you care about the future of this squad, this is a video for you. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Cool. And so then, let's roll back and let's talk now about transfers and what our wish list look like for January. Obviously, first, let's actually take a step back and the summer mercato was pretty minimal. You mentioned it in the last conversation that we just did what we absolutely had to do. How do you feel looking back? I mean, there's a lot of conversation about Zabarnyi and Chevalier. Are there opportunities that we missed? What's your rating of it at this point? Knowing that it's hard to give a final judgment on it.
I mean, it's good that you mentioned, the previous signings, because I would like to discuss about Lucas Chevalier. I like Chevalier. He's a very good goalkeeper, but it's very clear he's heavily underperforming. We've been taking a look at all of his stats across from his first season at Lille until this season, and all of his numbers are down massively. The pressure is coming to him. And then I remember on the after the Lyon game, I finally got to know about the entire situation with that on Instagram, and he got bombarded into such a huge thing, which affected Chevalier even more. Then he conceded in 4 minutes against Azerbaijan, which was the second quickest a French debutant goalkeeper has conceded a goal since 1935. It's been one of the worst goalkeeping debuts. But obviously you can blame it on him because it's not him that's not performing, but I don't blame it on him. I just think, the pressure of being a Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper, we've seen it. We saw Kevin Trapp, we saw Ariola, we saw Sirigu, we saw all these keepers come and just not be good enough. And he also has to fill Donnarumma's shoes. And that pressure has been immense.
Yeah.
What's your opinion about Chevalier? Do you think he's underperforming? Do you think he will get back to
level?
I mean,
he's underperforming. I think there's no question that he's underperforming. I actually went back and really I tried to take a step back and really untangle and do it properly. And so I went back and looked at a lot of analysis video from his time in Lille. And I think looking back, it's funny because some of the qualities that people had told us about are actually becoming weak points of him. And so there's a complete switch between what was expected of him and what he's actually showing on the pitch. So I'll give you an example, but a lot of people when he signed were saying actually he's pretty amazing in terms of shot stopping and reflexes on his line. And honestly, looking back, I saw a lot of highlights and games of his where he has some amazing saves. Versus on penalty, he's actually very weak, and for us, he's been really great at that. So there's stuff like this where it really shows that it's a player that is not giving what he can give, and he's not playing the games that he knows how to play. At the same time, very candidly, looking back at a lot of stuff I've seen from his time in Lille, he wasn't he was clearly not the most polished goalkeeper in terms of his goalkeeping technique, and I do think he's got a lot of work. He's got a lot of work to do on his goalkeeping skills, and I think we're seeing that. I think for me, the first few mistakes that he made, it's actually something that he was thinking is I'm wondering how much coming into PSG, he must have all of a sudden 23 coaches around him telling him different things about his game and what he must do differently, and the little things that he must do in his game. And I wonder how much that puts him in his head, because in Lille, a lot of it was very natural and very just very unpolished. It's a tough time. I honestly, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it in the end, because now the pressure is increasing and increasing and increasing. And it's really hard, once that starts happening, to turn it around. He hasn't lost the Parc des Princes yet, so that's a big one. Because
the ultras.
if he has a game in the Parc des Princes, a big game where he makes one or two big mistakes and starts getting booed, that's when like he doesn't come back from it. And that's really like what I'm fearing, because right now like his mistakes haven't been at the Parc des Princes, so at least there's been no hard moments there.
Yeah. No, that is true.
But yeah.
It can get even worse than it is at the moment.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I really hope it gets better, because yeah, he's got the talent, he's got something, and he's young. We knew we were taking a bet. Like we were literally like, we sent away the best goalkeeper in the world to take a chance. But for sure, he hasn't showed anything close to what he had showed in Lille. And so, you know, he's underperforming for sure. But like, yeah, it's not that he's not good enough for PSG, it's that he's not playing at his best right now. And I don't know if his best is good enough for PSG, but yeah, we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and then it's really important for him to step up. And I remember I got a question on Twitter, like, should we look into a new goalkeeper next summer if it goes on? And I was like, obviously, I don't think he'll go continue this bad. But no, look, Chevalier, we signed him as a 23-year-old, you know, hoping for the best now and expecting more coming down the line. And, you know, we gave Donnarumma massive opportunities, massive time. And I'm in a tough situation like this, period. I'm a huge supporter of Lucas Chevalier, and I just want him to do the best. And I want all PSG fans to be behind him. I don't understand why.
Yeah,
you see the hate count of Chevalier.
Yeah, I don't want to bang on him either, because he is our goalkeeper, and like one way or the other, he's going to be our goalkeeper for the rest of the season for sure.
Yeah,
and so it doesn't really like, it doesn't make anything better to just like keep banging on him and be like have a lot of negativity around him. Just like to what you said though, like I think if he keeps performing like he has and keeps making like those mistakes like once in a while, because it's not like every game either, but like it's often enough that you notice it. Like at the end of the season anyway, like my money is that like Safonov is going to be leaving, because it's something that we've promised to Zabarnyi anyway, and like Safonov, he wants to get playing time and he's not going to get it with Chevalier anyway. So then like we'll have a goalkeeper conversation next summer anyway, and the question will be, do we bring a sub, like a clear number 2, or do we bring in someone who can challenge? And I think like Chevalier is going to have to answer that question between now and June.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all in his hands. So like, if the worst thing happens, like Chevalier can only blame himself. He's the one that happened, you know.
But I think like 1 year is an opportunity to like, I don't expect him to like end the year as a finished product and at the level of like, you know, Donnarumma or Courtois or anything like this, but he needs to show progress. He needs to show that like he's starting to step into the jersey and step into the shoes of like being the number 1 goalkeeper in PSG.
100%. I thought, you know, every international break is always somewhat of a good position to be in if you're in bad form. It can get you, you know, start thinking about other stuff and you can come back to it. But I mean, Chevalier went and continued his streak. So I'm still waiting for that game. I thought that the buying game would be the game where Chevalier gets back to his best, but we'll have to continue and wait.
He didn't do that in the Bayern game actually, but like, yeah, it's I think now like it's also true is that like we're at a point where the fans like really pick on the smallest thing in his game and will make a deal out of it, but at the same time they won't see like the amazing thing that he does. So like I was re-looking at some of his things, and I rewatched the game against Strasbourg, for example. If you remember like the Strasbourg game, he has like these horrible like goals that gets past him on this slow shot from Morera after Doué loses the ball on the side of the area, and so people kept banging about this one. In the same game, he has like an honestly like incredible double reflex save within like his 6-yard area, like really up close at the beginning of the game as well, like 5th minute or something. You know, one where like the Strasbourg striker tries a heel flick and then it comes back and he saves the second shot. And it's like things like this, people don't even talk about it because they can't wait to talk about the negative stuff, and that's not a good place to be in.
Yeah. No, there's definitely an agenda, if you want to say, on Chevalier. People are on his head. A lot of them also, it's because they like Donna so much. So they're like, oh, I like Donna. They took him away from me. Let's hate on Chevalier. And I'm like, you know what? Even if you want to put hate because of that trade, put it on Lucha. Put that hate on Lucha. Put that hate on Campos. If you didn't enjoy it, it wasn't Chevalier who told Donna. It was Lucha.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I buy like this an agenda, because at the same time, like one of the things that's been said is that journalists in France have been actually like very, very light touched in pointing out his mistakes. And so like, like opinion makers and journalists in L'Equipe, in RMC, and so on, like the big news and sports media in France, they've been very, very, very nice to him for a very, very long time. And like at this point, they're just saying like, yeah, like it has been mistakes, but he needs to improve. He's young and it's fine. That's really where the French media has gotten to. When like Donnarumma didn't have as much patience with him. So, yeah.
No, that's true. No, it's mostly from PSG fans, from what I've seen, putting up failed comps of Chevalier and.
It is what it is. So anyway, like let's talk about January. Like how are you looking at this one? Like what do you think we need? Let's not talk players yet, but like in terms of position and what do you think we're missing?
So there was one track we're following in the summer, one profile, and it was a left-footed right winger. That was very clear in the summer. We obviously tried for Franco Mastantuono, but he opted for Madrid. And then we're monitoring Achilles by Monaco. We're looking for too much money. So I think that's the first profile to look at, a left-footed right winger. We can obviously go back for Achilles. He's not been performing as well. I think he's thinking about Paris Saint-Germain. And maybe Monaco will sit down and negotiate with us.
Yeah, so actually, it's funny because I was listening to some like I don't know, like interviews of journalists from radio stations in France, specialized in mercato. And what he was saying was that Akliouche, like the player, really loves Paris and wants to come to Paris. Paris kind of likes him and likes his profile, but they really never had any serious conversations about him. And so there was like, it sounded like it might be like slightly overblown. And I think he hasn't had the best. I mean, he's had an okay start of the season. He's starting to do well with the French team. But I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be our guy in this position.
Yeah. Would you take him? Do you think he's good?
I think he's good, but I don't think he'd be the one. For me in this position, I was doing my notes and so on and prepping for this. I've got two names that I'd like. And like both of them, we haven't really heard anything about them. I've got Amad Diallo of Man United, or Trincão, former Barcelona, who's like now Portuguese and so on. And I think both of them would be like more interesting in different ways. I think I'll start like Trincão. I think is more interesting in terms of like the dribbling and being able to play in small spaces, breaking down tight defenses and so on, which I think is something we really, really need. Plus, he's got an amazing left foot, so he can curl some shots and really score some goals as well. Amad Diallo, I really like the profile as well because he can cover the whole flank and he could even cover for Hakimi, which I think is really, really interesting to have. And could be a step up from Warren being that substitute. For me, those are like the two names that I've got on the list. I think Akliouche is interesting, but I think he's too much like Doué, honestly. I don't see like what he brings that's different. And I think like the two would compete for the same spot. The two would compete in the French team as well. And I think Doué is just miles ahead right now. So I don't see how it would work.
Do you not see the future of Doué maybe as a midfielder? As like a 10, an offensive 8?
Honestly, like I see him more as a false 9, and like maybe not taking over Dembele, because like Dembele is top of the world right now, and like no one can take that away from him. At least like not within the current squad. In midfield, like I don't know. I don't see the balance of him being there. But we can talk about it as well, because for me, like that's the two positions. Is first one was like he has a right winger with a left foot, and then like the second one was in midfield. Because I think we do need a little bit more depth in midfield. So for me, those are like the two areas where we need to recruit anyway.
Yeah. Well, there have been some reports about Daniel Munoz also. Would you take him?
Yeah, so I've seen that, and I've seen that actually, like, it sounds like it's actually like the player and his agent who are making a deal out of it more than anything. So I don't know, like, honestly, like, I haven't really seen him that much this season, so I don't know, because it sounds like he's been having an incredible 4 months. But on paper, like, I don't really buy it as well. It's like, anyway, like, one way or the other, Hakimi is going to be back like mid-January is what it sounds like. Of course, there's always a risk that he's going to get injured again, but like he's been one of the less injury-prone players in the squad and in the world. So I don't know if they'd recruit like just a player who can just play that position. They haven't before, so I don't really know if they would now, just because like Hakimi would miss the first 2 weeks, you know.
From most of the reports I've seen about Munoz, they always mention that he's versatile as well. And I looked on Transfermarkt, he can potentially play as a centre back, maybe. So maybe that. And then I also looked at his age. He's 29. When a football player is 29, he's looking for one final move to a big club, even as a squad rotation, to be able to win the big trophies. I don't think Munoz has a single European trophy. I mean, actually, he won 2 with Crystal Palace recently, but I think he's looking for a big money move. And if he's going to be back up to Hakimi, I think he'd be okay with that.
Yeah, look, I don't really know that much about the player, so I can't talk about this. I think like in terms of the position and getting a player in this particular position, I don't think it's a priority for the club from everything that we've seen. But I think if they do have an opportunity and they think the player is good enough, they'll probably do it. I think like I try to like take Luis Enrique at face values in transfer conversations, because usually he actually like says what he thinks. And like on right back, he's always said like, one, like they don't find talent that's good enough, and two, like the talent that's good enough, they don't want to come in to play 10 games a year because Hakimi plays it all and Hakimi is so amazing anyway. So that's the difficulty to do it.
And then obviously there is, I don't know how much you paid attention to the Julian Alvarez stuff. Do you want to believe it? Are you like, nah, it ain't happening?
No, I want to believe it, because like that's an amazing player, and like I wish he had signed with us instead of Atletico Madrid in the first place. And like, any day of the week, I want him in my team for sure. I don't think it happens in winter anyway. I think it's a next summer conversation, if anything. And like I think it depends. It depends on a lot of things, because a player like this needs to have a space in the team. Obviously, as a false nine right now, we've got Dembele. You could always move Dembele back to the right wing and give the false nine spot to Julian Alvarez. But then, like, where do you put Doué? You could do different things. We've got also a lot of contract extension which are happening at the moment. So I think it's a longer conversation with that's probably going to play out next summer anyway. But any day of the week, I'd want him in PSG. Like, man, I'll make space for him. No worries.
Yeah, because the two things I've seen like against the potential signing of him is the price. Like, so in the beginning there were reports about 150 million, and then the recent one came out mentioning 120 million.
Yeah, I've seen 120. Yeah, I mean
that would be the third in our history.
Yeah, I think worth it. I think amazing players. I think fits the playing style of Lucho. So like I don't have an issue. If tomorrow we go and drop 120 million and get Julian Alvarez, I won't have an issue with that.
150?
Yeah. I think like 150 it's starting to push it, but like obviously it depends how it happens and like all of the other things around and so on. But because at the same time, like you do have to make space for a player like this. So it could very well be like, hey, we get Julian Alvarez for let's say 140, but at the same time we sell Barco for 90. And I'm not advocating for selling Barco or anything, but like stuff like this would have to happen. So like it's all a matter of like how the squad gets organized and so on. I think though, like I do think for transfer like this, like the big ones, the really big ticket items, the next few weeks are going to be really interesting, because we're going to need to see contract extensions get finalized, because financial fair play is still a noose around everyone's neck, even for PSG and even with all the money that we've got. And Dembele needs a bigger contract. João Neves needs a bigger contract. Apparently, Pacho just signed a bigger contract. Barcola needs to be renewed. Mayulu needs to be renewed. Fabian Ruiz needs to be renewed. So there's a lot of players on the list, and a lot of them who deserve a lot more money as well. And so I think like where all of those conversations land is really going to impact our ability in terms of going after big players. So and like we need to finalize those conversations ASAP. Simple as.
100%. I mean, they can definitely have an effect. Like all the reports about Bradley Barcola is that he's stalling because he wants to see how the season ends. Is someone going to be buying in January? How are his performances looking? But if we
I
want,
love Barco. I think because like a lot of people are being harsh about him as well. Like I think he's an amazing player. He's got his flaws, but amazing player. And I hope I hope he stays with us.
yeah, and even with Barcola, I was like critiqueful, and because I saw the opportunities with everyone injured and everyone missing, I was like, this is Barcola's time to show that he can lead us. He can be that guy. We should think about Bradley Barcola as that guy. But he didn't take the opportunities. But then recently, the fatigue reports came out. He obviously played 0 minutes whilst being on the bench versus Lyon. So maybe we just run him into the ground, and he's physically not there. He's mentally not there. So.
Well, I mean, he's played 70 plus games since the beginning of last season or something completely insane. And at the same time, a player like Vara honestly hasn't had the best start of the season. So there's, I think he stepped up a lot more than some others. But
Yeah.
Anyway, for me, just going back to the transfer. So I mentioned, I think bringing someone in midfield, because I do think even with Joao Neves and Fabian Ruiz coming back and so on, there's still been a lot of time for the youngsters. And I do think that right now we've got basically 4 midfielder for 3 positions with Warren Zabarnyi. So I'd like to add another one. And I think Fabian Ruiz as well is up for a contract extension. His contract ends in a year and a half, and he's turning 30 later on this season as well. So he's not going to be there forever. And I think that's really a part of the team where you can make a statement and actually find the players that can actually improve the team. And so for me, I've done my Christmas list. I've done my wish list. 3 players three players that I'm thinking of. One is next to impossible. One is more doable, and one is could be easy done. The next to impossible one is Nico Paz. I'd love to see him in PSG. I'd love to see him. Obviously, he's got a buyback clause from Madrid, so it's next to impossible to get our hands on him. But yeah, man, long-term replacement to Fabian Ruiz, I can definitely see it. And it's because one of the things that I think for me was pretty clear with all of the injuries that we had in midfield is that you can replace Joao Neves, especially with Zabarnyi coming back to top of his form. But Fabian Ruiz right now cannot be replaced in the squad, and so we do need another kind of more creative midfielders that can play higher up, or recruit someone to play Vitinha's spot and move Vitinha further up. But we do need another top level midfielder that can take some of the load. Player like Nico Paz, man, love to see that.
But don't you think that's where the plan for the Ziri is? Because when I saw the first game of the season versus Spurs, Luis Enrique opted to play 4 attackers, doing the whole against Leverkusen played more as a false 9. So I think maybe Due is the answer to that. We just haven't been able to see him this season.
No, it could be, you're right, and he played that spot against Strasbourg as well. So it's happened a couple of times. I think it's obviously hard because it's a development question. It's a long-term conversation. It's not a player ready right here, right now. I think Doué, I don't think he contributes enough in terms of balance and in terms of covering the moves of his partners. So Fabian Ruiz, he does a lot of compensation work. Tactically, he's very, very smart and very he helps in balancing the whole team. I think Doué's talents are more in offense, and I think that part of the position, I don't see him doing it as much. So it could be in the long term, but I think in the short term, then we'd have to develop him for it,
Yeah, no, 100%. Who was the other ones you mentioned?
So the other ones that I thought one that's a little bit more doable, but also a big name and a player who's going to be amazing is Yildiz from Juve, who they play as a left winger, but he actually started his career as an offensive midfielder and more in the center of the pitch as well. And it's funny, there was actually an interview of Michel Platini recently, who said Yildiz is being wasted on the wing, and players who are this strong technically should be played in the middle. And the way he said it was funny to me because it's exactly what Lucho did with Dembele. It's like Dembele is like the strongest and the more like, you know, incredible player. So like, why put him on the wing? Just put him in the middle, man, and make the best of it. And so that really resonated. Obviously, the player as well who can play on both wings in the middle. He can play with both feet. He's young. He's like super talented. And apparently, like, he's having Juve hasn't managed to extend his contract. So the conversation has stalled a little bit. So this might be an opportunity to swoop in and get him in.
What's his contract length? Because I've never thought about Yildiz. Very great that you bring up. So 2029. So in the summer, you have 3 years.
But he's got a very low salary right now. So they have to tie him. He's asked Juve for 6 million a year, and apparently they don't want to pay him this much, which for us would be an easy one. So yeah,
it's like backup money for us.
I'll give them Colomwani and some money. You know, like we'll make a deal with Juve, and we can take Colomwani for it.
Yeah, and they, like, you could say, guy from their own academy, so they're gonna make a profit no matter what.
Actually, he was Bayern Munich.
Yeah. But like they got him for free basically from the Bayern academy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
so Serie A is for me. I think we should look at the Serie A more. Obviously, Luis Campos is more of a South America, Liga NOS, obviously. And like Leonardo used to look at Serie A, but I think Serie A is a great opportunity because they're so broke. As you said, 6 million for your best player, your future franchise player, you can't pay that. It was the same with Kvara. Kvara was asking for good money, but they couldn't give it to him.
Yeah, so I think like that's a player. Apparently, though, like Arsenal and Chelsea are already looking at him, so there's going to be competition. But yeah, like, there's talent to get our hands on.
And who's the third? So
the third, the easy option would be Valentín Barco of Strasbourg.
Are you thinking as a midfielder as he's been playing now, or as a
more defensive than the other two? But yeah, he's been like running that left side of the Strasbourg midfield. And I think he can play like basically for us. He could play 3 positions. He could play Fabian Ruiz. He could play Vitinha's position, or he could play Nuno Mendes because he started his career as a left fullback. So a lot of versatility. He's still young. He's relatively cheap as well, accessible, and really quality player. I mean, his season so far has been outstanding. So yeah, I'd hate for him to like, you know, get bought back by Chelsea for 20 million at the end of the season, and then like him not playing like Andre Santos right now. It's just like Chelsea needs to stop wasting players. You know, we can take them over and like take care of them.
Sure. I don't really have a list. I mostly have like, if Alvarez happens, I'll be absolutely happy. But more maybe for the summer. So like Diallo Upamecano, we've seen reports to him. He's been someone I've been after for like 2 years now, and you know, with him having the same agent as Dembouz, Barcola, Due, he's friends from Paris, same place as Dembele. They're great friends, so I think that's a signing we have to make.
So like central defense is the same thing. I look at him as more of a next summer conversation because I think that's when Marquinhos leaves, and so we'll have an open spot then. And like for me, there's 3 central defenders who are going to be on free of contract. Then there's Upamecano, there's Konaté, and there's Eric Garcia. And honestly, like that's essentially my order of preference, but I'll take any of the 3.
Yeah. Even the Eric Garcia, I think it's less because it looks like it's going to extend at Barca.
And like I feel the same, but same. Like I mean, Upamecano could also like be going to Real or signing with with Bayern. So we'll see. But like any of those 3 conversations are happening. But yeah, I'll take any one of those 3.
Same. And I agree. It's a summer thing. We don't, even with Marquinhos' mistake in the recent game, he can still stay until the end of. He deserves a good farewell. But I definitely think this should be his last.
Marquinhos, like he'll decide when it's time to go. He's like, I'll give him the keys of the club. I don't care. Like he's the player who's played the most game with PSG. He's the captain who won the Champions League. Yeah, like he's like, yeah, sure, he made a mistake against Bayern Munich and he was ugly, but he's still one of the best defenders in the world. And like, yeah, he'll get to decide for all of his done with the club.
Yeah. So so to end it, what's your like expectations for the January transfer window?
Honestly, if we can get 2 players in, but 2 really really good ones, I think one in attack and one in midfield, I'll be like super happy with that. At the same time, like I don't want us to do too much or like do players that we're not sure about, because like, people are going crazy that, oh, there's a lot of injuries in PSG and look at this, it's horrible. But like, you recruit a player for 5 years, so we don't want to make this decision just for the next 3 months,
Yeah.
So we really need to think strategically about it. I do think we can, improve the squad and bring more density and bring a bit more depth. But I don't think we should be bringing like 4 players or anything like this. I think 2 like very good players that can like fill in and take spots on this team, who are versatile as well and can help in different ways. Yeah, I'll be well chuffed with that. Because the difficulty as well is that most players take some time to adjust as well. And so like for a Pacho or a Joao Neves who straight away jump into the team and never make their way out, there's also a Zabarnyi or a Vitinha who take a lot, or Fabian Ruiz who takes a lot more time to actually find their spot and understand the way of playing. So it's also like not necessarily a very short-term solution.
True. Yeah, no, only long-term solution. We shouldn't overstress. That's even when I saw reports that we're going to replace players because they've been injured. I didn't really believe it, because the injuries are not major and we shouldn't make that. Feels like old PSG signings, not the new one. So yeah,
the rules in French, so you're like, I don't know if you know, but like the rule in France for what we call a medical joker is that it needs to replace a player who's injured for more than 3 months, and like the player needs to be bought from another French team. Which obviously in the past, like the very few times where we actually like thought about it and so on, finding a player in France who's good enough for PSG and that you can snap in the middle of the season, it's basically next to impossible anyway. So yeah.
True. So yeah,
that's the way you go.
I guess my expectations only maybe one attack. I don't really know. No, Alvarez is the big one. I've already made, I think, 3 videos on it. If it's not Alvarez, just continue the season. Maybe get the left-footed right winger, because that's a profile they've been looking for from before. And Daniel Munoz, I like it, but from what I've seen from David Boehly, from what I've read about David Boehly, this is kind of a talent where you should leave the space for him. Yes, maybe we start off the season with, before Hakimi comes back and everything, we can play Neves, we can play Warren Mayulo. But David Boehly, I think leave that space for him, because I think he's the best talent from the academy since Warren. Because Mayulo was touted, but not as much as Warren. And he's only 16 as well, which makes it even better. Like, the younger you come through, if we get a 19-year-old through the academy, I'm like, I don't think he's that great. Because if he was that great, we would have seen it at 16. So I think
it depends. Sometimes players like come up in different ways, but yeah, you're right. Like, I think like Boehly is super exciting, but we'll see. At the same time, I heard like something funny that kind of stuck with me, is that like how like we complain in PSG that we don't have a substitute for right fullback, and that we have to play a midfielder in fullback position, and then we play against Bayern Munich, and literally like their 2 right fullback are like Kimmich and Leimer, and both of them are midfielder, and both of them are absolutely amazing at it. So like clearly, like we're not the only ones who are seeing the playing thing of playing a midfielder in those positions as well. And
I mean that's just modern football. When you look at Hakimi, does he really play as a right back? He plays more as a midfielder that plays as a right back. So
I completely agree. Hakimi, I like to say, like he's a right side box to box.
An additional one next to Neves.
Exactly.
I don't feel we need any signings, honestly. I know we've had a lot of injuries, but thankfully none of them were major. And I think this period will tell us a lot as well, from now until the end of 2025, if we have to do something.
I'll tell you what, though, in the end, if I have to put money on one name who I think is most likely to join, I will say, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see us go back for Rodrigo Mora.
That's a good one, because that, as you
said, the years that like we tried to make it happen in the summer and didn't work out, and like we could go back to him, and like I really wouldn't be surprised.
And I think he would want it because he's been struggling heavily with minutes at Porto with the new manager, new World Cup coming up. He will get more time here. He will play with big players.
Yeah.
Okay, that's I think that's more likely than Akhriyos maybe, because it feels like we're more interested in Mora than Akhriyos.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one I can see definitely. All right, there you have it. This was the transfer wrap-up and the discussion we had with PSGINT. Let me know in the comment what you think of our targets. Who are the players who are exciting you the most right now? And who do you think we should really prioritize in bringing in January? And then if you made it this far, as always, please drop a like on this video. Massively helps. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And hit the bell to get notified of future videos. And don't forget, ici c'est Paris!